Hi, I'm Dr. Winters. I wanted to share a little bit about what we've been learning about doing remote vision therapy at our clinic. I know there's been a ton of information put out there, and you got to just love our community for us coming together. So this is my little contribution. Um, so a couple things. First of all, if you've been trying to debate whether or not to do a remote vision therapy program, I'm really going to recommend that you do. And there's a couple things that I think are really becoming a catalyst for that. Number one, this is not going to go away anytime soon. President Trump just last couple days extended the stay-at-home federal guidelines out through April 30th. So those of us that were hoping that this was going to be just a couple-week stint and that we'd be able to get right back into practice, that is seeming more and more remote possibility, and more we are in this for the long haul. And so for us to be able to continue to take care of our patients and to be able to continue operating our clinics, at least having some income coming in, I think it's really vitally important. Another big thing is being able to keep our vision therapists. There is a great program called the Paycheck Protection Program. I'll be doing another video about that later on. That should allow you to be able to keep your therapist, but we need to keep those therapists busy, and there's not a better way than to just continue doing what they've been doing, just remotely. So I'm going to try to jam-pack this video, not make it very long, but to give you a lot of information really quickly about things that you need to know, or if you have a remote vision therapy program, things that you can start doing to make your vision therapy program even better. So some of the things that I'm going to be covering are three things. Number one, getting your patients to sign up for vision therapy. So we've been very fortunate to have a very high rate of sign up to taking our existing in-office vision therapy patients to now doing remote vision therapy. So that's number one. Part of that is going to be talking about billing. You know, how much should you charge? How about billing insurance? How long should the vision therapy session be? These are all questions that I've received that I'll be addressing. Number two, figuring out the platform. There's a ton of video conferencing platforms out there, so I'll be talking a little bit about that. And finally, spending some time as a representative of Emergent, talking about equipment and how you can use our equipment to be able to do remote vision therapy very effectively. So let's jump right into it. All right, so number one, getting your patients to sign up for vision therapy. I am still filming this from home, and my dog is really wanting to be part of the video. So I'll introduce you all to Snickers. Say hi, Snickers. So getting your patients to sign up for vision therapy. We were real fortunate to get 90% of our vision therapy patients, in-office patients, to convert to doing remote vision therapy. You might think, well, you must be in a unique part of the country. I'm really not. So I'm in Yakima, Washington, which is a pretty rural town, very high poverty area. So as I've kind of thought through, because I've talked to a lot of clinics that are not having that kind of success, what did we do different? Well, number one, we had our therapists call the patients. They're the ones with that relationship with them. And it's really important to talk to your patients about that continuity of care, making sure there's no interruptions there and not losing ground that you've gained. And so this is something that you're doing for them. They're not doing this for you, you're doing this for them to be able to continue that continuity of care. And so you've been able to come up with a plan to help them continue their therapy. So using that, that's how you present that to the patient. And how you say it is everything, right? If you say, well, I've got this thing that we hope might work possibly, it's not going to work. The therapists need to speak with confidence. This is a program that we've designed to be able to continue your care. Another thing people think is, well, maybe my patients have just all signed up ahead of time. That's not true. About 80% of our patients pay every week as they go. And so that wasn't a factor in this either. So number one, talking about signing up in the correct way. The second thing I think is really important is your goal is to try to make sure that there's as little change as possible to that program. So a lot of clinics have talked about discounting their rate for remote vision therapy. Again, it's important to change your framework. This is not something that your patients are doing for you. This is something you are doing as a benefit to your patients. I think it's a mistake to discount your rates for your vision therapy. I think some people out there are thinking, well, you know, we're just not as effective when we're doing remote vision therapy, so we should charge less. Well, as far as, I don't know how it's working for you, but in my part of the country, our internet has been ridiculously slow lately. I think it's because everyone's trying to binge watch their favorite TV show on Netflix because they're all bored. And so all the bandwidth is low. But last time I checked, I'm still paying the same amount for my internet, even though the quality is lower. So not only that, but you are providing additional service by providing the technology associated with doing this remote vision therapy. So we haven't had a single person complain, and I don't feel bad at all for charging them the same amount for that vision therapy. We try to make sure that we start at the same time, we keep that same schedule, and we do it for the same duration. We're trying to keep it the same as possible. If you're worried about being able to fill up that entire vision therapy time, James, our resident COVT, he is actually going to be putting together a series of videos talking about how to adapt your vision therapy program to be able to do it remotely. And so look for those coming out. Additionally, you know, this is a great time to get to know your patients even more. I know that I was talking to my therapist and they said that they have met just about all of their patients' dogs or cats. They've made sure that they're taking breaks. So in our office, we have a trampoline, and so the kids will go jump on the trampoline to take a little break in between activities. And so now we have the kids do jumping jacks, or they'll go and run and touch the doorknob of the front door, or just do something to be able to break it up a little bit. So all of those things can be adaptable, and like I said, be looking here in the next few days for some videos from James on how to adapt that. The other thing I wanted to talk about real quick is insurance billing. This is complicated right now, and I'm not going to say that I'm an expert in this area, but there are a few things. Number one, telemedicine is something that is a different ballgame right now, given the current circumstances. So our governor, for instance, put out something. This is a proclamation that he put out, said, prohibiting health carriers from denying a telemedicine claim for an in-network provider for a medically necessary covered service. So I know when Trump put out his statement about that Medicare, there's going to be parity with telemedicine and with in-office visits, that the AOA came out and said, well, that really doesn't apply to the 9.2 codes, which would include 92065 orthoptics. So I think it's very important, though, that you check, so that would be true for Medicare, but you check with your individual private third-party carriers to see if they have changed their policies. And that wouldn't take very long to call the different, your main insurance carriers and seeing what their change in policy is. Also check your state declarations by your governor, see if they've had a similar one. So if insurance is something you're worried about, those are the types of things that I would do to try to help with that. Finally, we've got a kind of a time when we're not going to be able to do initial exams. It's hard to say initial exam or a progress exam really fall under the category of an urgent or emergent visit. Especially I went through and looked at the AOA's definition of what they're saying qualifies for an urgent or emergent. I just don't see our initial exams or progress exams really falling into that category. I'm going to be putting out a video here in the next couple of days explaining some of the ways that you can adapt your progress exams to be able to do those potentially remotely. Initial exams are a little bit different, and so we'll be talking in that next video as well about looking back at previous initial exams that you've done and people that haven't signed up for therapy, and some things that you'd be able to offer them to try to get them to sign up for vision therapy going forward. So these are all ideas that are going around trying to help people to continue their vision therapy program. Next, we're going to talk about the platform. I don't want to take a lot of time in this segment talking about the platform because really I feel like what I've seen is that just about any video conferencing platform works. The one that we use is Google Meet. We're kind of a Google Office, and so we were already kind of part of that Google suite. And so Google Meet is one of those things that are already included in what we have. And it's just been a very easy platform. We put it on the calendar, and then we just invite the patient to, or send them the link to be able to join that session and be able to do it that way. There are other ones out there that are really popular. Doxy.me is one for healthcare providers that's pretty popular. The problem with that one is the free version is a low quality, low definition as far as the video quality. I really think that you're going to want a higher quality video in your teleconferencing because you're going to be watching your patient's eyes. I'll be showing that to you here in a minute. Zoom is obviously a super popular one that's out there. I think that's a great one. VC, the letter V, SEE, is also another one for healthcare providers. And then you have Skype. So any of these, and then there's a bunch more, you can easily get online looking at the prices and how those all work. If you have any questions, though, feel free to reach out to me. I'm kind of a computer nerd, and so I'm happy to help you if you're having any issues there. So let's now talk about the equipment. You gotta love working from home. I just had to go interrupt my son from deciding to play the tuba right in the middle of my filming. We're all having to adapt to this new framework of working from home. I want to take a moment as I start to talk about the equipment to talk about the perception of our vision therapy equipment. We provide a high level of professional service to our patients that in many cases cost thousands of dollars. And it's really interesting that when we look at the equipment that we're sending home with patients to use, it really doesn't reflect that. In fact, I've got in the notes below, you'll see that there's a link to a man on the street that we did where you have typical people taking a look at our vision therapy equipment that we've used for many, many years. And it's really eye-opening to see what their perception is of that. And so as my brother and I, my brother's a manufacturing engineer, as we set out to make this take-home vision therapy equipment, we really had the goal of making sure that we had professional medical grade equipment that was very functional, but that also didn't break the bank. I would love for you to see all the things that my brother has done to make sure that this is still affordable to your clinic and to patients. But I'm really excited to show you the high level of equipment that we have that works really, really great for remote vision therapy. What we've put together for you is a remote vision therapy kit that really has everything that you're going to need to do remote vision therapy. The first thing that we have that's very unique to our system is our magnetic mainframe. Put a lot of time in developing this. This is comfortable for with or without glasses. And when it comes time, rather than dealing with a pirate patch, now you've got this nice occluder. Now you look at, and you can see how well you can see my eye through that occluder, yet it provides occlusion, finger counting out to 2 feet. So this is a high level occlusion, but especially in a remote situation, you're able to still see my eye and make sure that accommodating, converging, whatever it is that you need to see with the eye. So we've got the translucent occluder. We also have red-green glasses. And again, it's simple because you just magnetize and put them on. In a lot of the other versions, you even have to break to be able to switch the red and green lenses. Here you just simply turn them over and click them back on. Rather than spending a lot of time here going over all the elements in the basic kit or the remote vision therapy kit, we've got a link down in the notes that will refer you to our website that will give you information on all the different elements that are in our kit. Everything has a little bit of an emergent twist to make everything a little bit more functional, a little bit more professional looking, so you'll want to check that out there. So one of the main things that sets our equipment apart from other kits is our fusion slider. It really allows you to do smooth vergences where with other equipment, it's really hard to be able to do smooth vergences in a remote vision therapy session. So this is how we set up ours. I'll show you how easy it is. First of all, like I said, we have this lid, this plexiglass lid that comes with the kit already. You've got these feet that we've already talked about. You're just going to slide them in here, and this is going to become your holder. So you slide these in here, and then here is your fusion slider. It's got markings on there so they can see how many prism diopters, so you can communicate that to your patient. And then finally, we have our anaglyphs. I'm calling them anaglyphs because tranaglyphs is actually a trade name of Bernal. But our anaglyphs are different. I want you to look at how bright colored these are. And so they're able to get a much better pop on that 3D than you do with traditional tranaglyphs. So with our anaglyphs here, you're just going to set them in here. You'll have the red-green glasses that the patients will be wearing. You want to make sure and have the patients open up a blank Word document in the back so they have a white background. And you'll have them simply slide these in and out to be able to get that smooth vectogram. So basically I would tell the patient, okay, I want you to set the green one at 0 and the red one at 10. It is important that you have the red lens over the right eye, and then that you have the red anaglyph over the green anaglyph to make this work, so you have convergence and divergence working appropriately. So I would tell them to set it at, let's say, the 0 and the 4. So the green at the 0, the red at the 4, and now I know that they've got 4 diopters of convergence that they're doing, and now we can localize. Well, the great thing is I can have them try to tell me where the striped cupcake is or where the star cupcake is. To even be able to see that better, you can have them just make sure they have a blank wall in the background, and you can say, okay, here is, so they're actually localizing with the activity, and then you can tell them to increase that disparity or decrease the disparity, get increase and decreases convergence and divergence with that. And so that's worked really well as we've done our remote vision therapy with our patients. Finally, I just want to tell you how you can get this equipment. Many of you may be thinking that, how are we going to afford this for our patients, or how are our patients going to afford this? This kit that I just showed you with all the things in it is only $150. We're giving you a nice discount on that to have that all put together. We also will customize this for your clinic, and then with that customization, which is free, we will also be offering some additional big discounts. So anyone that has a clinic of over 30 patients and is looking to use these kits not only for remote but in the future, we are offering $1,000 of free equipment for that clinic to help them to get this whole thing started during this time of difficulty. If you're a smaller clinic, we have programs for you too, and some free financing. So there's a lot of things that we are trying to do to be able to get these in the hands of patients and to help you out during this critical period. So please give us a call. You'll be able to see that in the links below. There's a Calendly link where you can set up a time to talk with me or go over this with myself or with James. Or if you have any questions, you're welcome to email us as well, which will also be in the notes below. We wish you the very best of luck. We hope that you stay healthy during this difficult time and that your patients do as well. We're here to help any way that we can, so please reach out to us. Thanks so much.